All right, here we go with the first lesson. I know I gave you all kinds of videos and stuff to watch. A lot of that was to try and help explain modes, scales, and stuff. And I don't expect you to get all that down yet. Eventually, but not yet, because that's a lot of info. But thought it'd be a good thing to check out and before we actually get really in depth with this stuff. And even what I got planned today is going to be kind of, not as, at least with the solo stuff that I'll be talking about, and scale stuff, not as the same building blocks approach I always do, but this way I can get you started in stuff that you're currently working on, and hopefully that'll help you, have more ideas for your own material. So anyway, we'll get all into that. So the first thing I want to do here is work on improving the counting and understanding what's going on with some of the, I'll say, weirder symbols that happened in example number 1, in which you did in the skill sheet or the skill evaluation thing. Because it started off okay, but some of these things, I think you mistook the tide mark for a slide, and then as things got faster, some of the timing was off. So I just want to focus on getting some of the weird stuff better, and then that'll be for the first week anyway. And then depending on how you do each week, that determines what I'll end up giving you next. So some notes at the top here. So, and this goes for every single day that you practice. So I always want you to start at 60. And then from 60 to 120, go ahead and work it up in 20s. So I think that'll be okay for you from what you demonstrated. Your timing seems pretty good, so we don't need to work this one up in 5s. I just want you to get used to playing this kind of rhythm in some different speeds, or a lot of different speeds, and just get comfortable with counting this stuff, understanding what's going on. But yeah, so 60 to 120, work it up in 20s. So you play this correctly at 60, and then you go up to 80, play it correctly at 80, and then go to 100, play it correctly at 100, and then play it correctly at 120. And then after that, start going up in 10. So then you got 130, 140, 150, 160. And then from there, start going up in 5s. And then if you get to 240, if you get to 240 with this, when you start going up in 5s, no need to go any faster than that. You can hit 240 with that, you're totally fine, totally good there. And then what you could do is send in a video early. So yeah, there's going to be quite a bit of talking on this first video because, first lesson, got to go over what to do. That's the gist of what I want you to do for number 1 is play those speeds, so 60, 80, 100, 120, and then after that, 130, 140, 150, 160, and then go up in 5s from there. And it does say spend 10 to 15 minutes working this up as fast as you can, and only increase the speed when you feel like you are certain, you are confident that you nailed it, like it was good enough to be on a recording. So if you have any doubts, if you played anything wrong, assume that you did play it wrong, and then try it again. So only move on when you're confident. I know I've already sent a bunch of videos to watch, but there is one other that you gotta watch before you start practicing everything, and it's how to practice your lessons, because it goes into a lot of detail on what to do when mistakes are made, when you're supposed to move up in speed, and stuff like that. There is a section in that video that talks about adding in repetitions. Your stuff does not have that right now. If we ever do repetition stuff, I will let you know. But the idea about, the principles on how to practice, when to move on, or increase the speed and all that stuff, that's the important section of that video, and that one is necessary to watch. So this way you get the most out of this stuff. And then it does say on there, spend 10 to 15 minutes working it up as fast as you can, right? Then if you max out in less than 10 minutes, then the practice is complete for the day. You don't need to go on any further. So if it feels like there's no way you're going to get another speed, you just spent like a minute or two really struggling to get a good take, then it's probably time to call it. So if you're done in 8 minutes, then you're done. You don't need to go any further. So I say 10 to 15 minutes because, after 10 minutes is done, aim for one more good take. And just to make sure you got enough time, that's why it's like, 10 to 15 minutes. So you got about five more minutes to get one more solid take, and then you're done. So you don't need to spend a lot of time doing it. We're just going to be very efficient with how we practice. So you just play it, move it up, play it, move it up, play it, move it up, move it up in speed. And then when it is time to send in your stuff, and remember it's due by 12 p.m. Thursday, Pacific Standard Time. You just got to make sure it's all sent in by then. And if you reach 240 on this, and this, what you send in will be a little bit different depending on what we do. Usually, what I would like you to do is send in your entire final practice session. But if you reach a goal speed, such as the 240 with this, no need to do the entire practice session. So if you reach 240 for this, what I'd like you to do is send in a video playing the 240 and then just show it at 60, 80, 100, 120. Basically just go up in 20s. Just show me you do it like that way, and then that'll be plenty for me to see that you got it down. And if you don't have it down, I'll be able to point out what went wrong. But yeah, if you don't reach the goal speed of the 240, just record your entire final practice session, and then I don't watch the whole thing, but I just want enough there in case I do need to see the whole thing. So when you send in the full practice session, what I do is I watch the beginning, make sure it starts proper. Then I watch the ending, see how it ends, and I'll check out the middle too. So basically, I'll start at the beginning, jump to the middle, see is it still going okay, all right, and then I go to the end, see if it finishes properly. Another thing, always end with a good take. Even if you feel frustrated when things start getting difficult, still end with a good take, because it's very important that we continue to do perfect practice when we do this stuff. So if we do a bad take and we just say to hell with it and then stop, that's not training ourselves to get it right. So always end with a good take in your practice sessions and what you send, okay? All right, I think that about covers it there. So yeah, send in your full final practice session. Unless you get up to 240 and before next week, then just make a video going from 60 to 240 in 20s, send it over as soon as you got it. Okay, so what do we have here? So it seems like you know something about what's going on here, like counting rhythm, or maybe just visualizing it and kind of having an idea. But basically, just going over all the important stuff just to make sure you know what's going on. We are in a 4/4 time signature. The top number tells you how many beats are in the bar. So it could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't matter what the top number is. It can be anything. But the top number tells you how many beats are in the bar. And the bar or measure, same thing. So that's basically bar number 1. And with Guitar Pro, you can see the 1 right there. So the quarter note, that is what this bottom number is telling you equals 1 beat. So the bottom number tells you what gets the value of a beat. Usually it's 4. Sometimes you'll see a 8. And actually you're going to see that in the next thing I got. But the bottom number can only be 1 for whole note, 2 for half note, 4 for quarter note, 8 for eighth note, 16 for 16th note, and even 32 for 32nd note. That's very rare to see. But yeah, the top number can be anything. So basically this is saying you have 4 beats in the bar, and each beat is a quarter note in length. So when you're playing this, what I want you to do is get in the habit of tapping your foot when that metronome is clicking, and you're going to count all 4 beats. So you say it out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, the whole time. And after like 120 beats per minute, if it feels like too much of a pain in the butt to keep counting out loud, you don't have to keep counting out loud after that point, but it can be helpful. So if you can keep counting out loud after that, and it doesn't have to be loud, because a lot of times when I get going faster, I will count out loud at a lower and lower volume. Sometimes I'll just mouth it. But yeah, make sure you're tapping your foot. Consistently tapping your foot. When things get going really fast, I may stop tapping every single beat, and I might just tap on beats 1 and 3. Depending on what it is I'm playing, I might just tap my foot at the beginning of the bar. But for the most part, you want to keep that foot tapping with that metronome best you can. Because if your foot is keeping up with that metronome, you can be locked into everything a lot better and have much better timing. And counting out loud is important because it helps us keep track of where we are in this stuff. And as we progress into more challenging rhythms, and we will get to some really challenging rhythms, one of the most important things I was taught is if you can't say it, you can't play it. So we need to practice counting out loud. It will save you tons of frustration and just makes things so much easier when you can say a rhythm out loud and understand the stuff. It just simplifies the process of learning and creating music so much. Okay, so what I'm going to do is demonstrate this at some different speeds. So this way you can hear and see exactly how we're doing it. We're going to do all downstrokes for this. And what we have here, the funny symbols or the weird ones. So we got the 4 quarter notes in this bar. So we're going to play on all 4 beats. This right here, this A5 chord is tied across the bar line. So that means it rings out 2 beats. So we play on beat number 4, that rings out across beat number 1. And then we strum that chord on beat number 2. And then the tied chords or the tied notes, I have them ringing out a little bit longer each time. So now this G5 is tied across the bar line into a half note. A half note is 2 quarter notes long. It's 2 beats long. So when you strum this on beat number 4, that will ring out across beats 1 and 2. And then we strum again on beat number 3. Strum again on beat number 4. And that is tied across the bar line into a dotted half note. A dotted half note is the length of 3 quarter notes. That is 3 beats long. So this is tied across the bar line to a quarter note. So when we strum again, that'll be on beat number 2. This is tied across the bar line to a half note. So when we strum again, that's going to be beat number 3. And then here we have that chord tied across the bar line to a dotted half note. The dotted half note is 3 beats long. So when we strum again, it's on beat number 4. And then here we just got to mix the things. So we got your quarter note played on beat number 1, dotted half note, which is played on beat number 2. And then we strum again on beat number 1 in the next bar. Because remember, this is 3 beats long, so we strum on beat number 2, rings out across beat 3 and beat 4. And then here we kind of flip the order around. Now we got the dotted half note first, so that's played on beat number 1, rings out across beats 2 and 3. We strum again on beat number 4, quarter note, half note on beat number 2, so then we play again on beat number 4, tied across the bar line, play again on beat 2, beat 4, and then hit that guy and call it a day. So that right there at the very end is a half note or a dotted half note rest. So basically just hit that chord and you're done. Okay, demonstration time. So what I'm going to do is count off 4 so you know when I'm going to start so you can follow along. Try and just use your metronome as much as possible when you're doing this stuff. Use Guitar Pro when necessary, like when you're having a hard time following something, you want to get clarification. And definitely, follow along with the video as many times as you need to. Follow along with Guitar Pro to make sure that you got it. But yeah, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of times I'll tap the body of the guitar on the beats I'm not playing on, just to help me keep track even better. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, I'm tapping my foot that whole time. See the guitar bouncing a little bit? That's because the foot's tapping. And top speed. And you do not need to reach this. 240 is just like, you don't have to go any further. But you do not have to reach this. Just get where you can. I want you to keep things in control. Control is the name of the game. Not speed, not yet. It will be. But right now we got to get control and stay in control. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whew. All right. So, time to switch guitars. So, I'm in the drop A here, and I got some scale stuff set up for you. So, I just using that first song that you sent over, and then we'll take a look at the other one next time. But let's see. So what I got here is what it sounded like to me to do different rhythms. And so what I was doing basically is just highlighting that line and then looping it in Guitar Pro. And just in case you don't know what that is, hold on. So up here, that's where the loop is in Guitar Pro. Just make sure that's turned on. And I also have the metronome turned on as well. This way, I got something to follow there. So, listening to it and looking at the notes here. Now, how you tabbed it out, that second rhythm there, and you put in the chord names, yeah, in standard tuning, that is correct. Absolutely. So, you could look at it like, if it was standard tuning, it's basically D Phrygian that you could be playing in for the first half. The second half, because you go into this, then it becomes D Phrygian dominant. So the chord, or the scale stuff I'm going to show you though, I have the tuning in mind, so it's actually going to be a little bit different, and it's keeping the whole baritone sound in mind. So it's actually going to be E. Hang on. Let me just pull it up here. Yeah, not E, A. Yeah, A Phrygian and A Phrygian dominant is what we're going to be going between. So, and yeah, I'm so used to doing everything in standard, so I'll goof things up in baritone and thinking like the 7 strings. Anyway. So why that? So basically, you know, you got this chord here, right? And you talked about intervals, like using the Ionian mode. So that's your root in the 5th, which is used for a lot of different modes, a lot of different scales. The thing that made it sound Phrygian, and I think you're doing something like this. I couldn't tell if you were holding like 2 things at once, but maybe you're just getting that. So basically just like a minor second happening there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So basically those three notes right there, that is very Phrygian sounding. So you got the root, the fifth, and the big time Phrygian sound, that flat second. So you could do Phrygian dominant the entire time, because that still works. Those three notes or three intervals are within that. So what the heck is all this Phrygian and Phrygian dominant stuff? So, as I mentioned earlier, like the scale stuff I'm just giving you right now is to help you kind of get a head start on the stuff that you're working on. And again, we'll take a look at the chord progression you got in the other song you sent next time. But as we really get involved, like in depth with all this theory stuff, yeah, we're going to be doing the standard tuning and looking at all the scale shapes, the modes, those 7 scale shapes, like the 3-note per string stuff, how they're connected, how we can create modes or make something sound like a mode, how the chords fit those modes and things like that. So because I understand the interval structure of a mode, that's how I was able to tell, I was like instantly, like, that is Phrygian. So Ionian being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What we do to get that Phrygian is we flat the second, and then we flat the third, and then the 4 is the same, 5 is the same, and then we flat the 6th note, or the 6th interval in Ionian, and then we flat the 7th as well. So Ionian, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then just root again. Phrygian is 1, flat second, flat third, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. So much darker sounding. Phrygian is a pretty dark sounding mode. So that's what's going on for that. And you can do several things, really. You could even think what you did was basically like a pentatonic thing in your solo, which works just fine. So basically, here I gotta bring some stuff up and go back down. So A Phrygian I have at the top here. So basically all these notes are set up for drop A tuning, and all those notes fit perfectly well with the initial rhythm that you have there. Now, as you're doing it, like if you want to solo using this, again, you can use the pentatonic like you did, but this one takes into account that minor second that you play, or the flat second, and that really makes it sound Phrygian. So, trusting your ear as to what sounds good to you is the most important thing. So if you're staying within those notes, you're safe. So what I have to help is I got some highlighted patterns within those notes. And so going back to the A note over and over again is a good idea. Good safe bet, but you don't have to always do that. But because the chord is always starting on that, it makes sense to resolve to it. But you don't always have to resolve to the root note of the chord, because sometimes it might sound better to just play something else around. So you trust your ear. And with like the really extreme metal stuff, a lot of times having some dissonance is a good thing. So got this written in 2 octaves here. So the fretboard is set up for a 24 fret guitar. So down here is the same as up here. Now with the drop A tuning, because you got both of those being an A note or an A string, there is a note being skipped when you're sticking in this pattern. So like you're going from this F, skipping the G note here over to the A. Again, this is just for convenience sake, these patterns. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're soloing in a drop tuning. The pattern, a convenient pattern, will be leaving a note out when you're going from the bottom string up to the next one. But if you just start here on the A string, or in this case the E, string number 5, starting on the 5th string here, then you're not skipping any notes as you're going up and down here. And then here got another just convenient shape. And another one right after that. And I just realized I forgot to put it down here at the low octave as well. Well, let's take care of that real fast. Do I still have that open? No. All right, I'll do my best to remember to put that down there. I did get the 2nd octave for this next one, though. All right, now, the next thing I got here, this is your Phrygian dominant. Why Phrygian dominant? That's because, for this section, so, we still got that note is like the tonal center. That 5th interval still being used. When you go up to this next chord, you got the minor 2nd being played and the minor 6th, or flat 2nd and flat 6th. This chord has the flat 7 being played and the 4th interval being played. And again, I'm talking about like all this stuff within the mode itself, okay? And if all this stuff is like still confusing as hell, that's all right. Write down any questions you have, send them my way. But we will go in depth with this, starting with Ionian and how to change Ionian into all these different things, okay? And then here, that note, that is a major 3rd up from the tonal center, just an octave apart. That note is the same as that note, so it's an octave apart. So you could do it like that, doesn't sound as brutal. But that is essentially what's making that Phrygian dominant. So Phrygian, again, has your root, flat 2nd, flat 3rd, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. Phrygian dominant takes that flat 3rd, makes it a major 3rd. So when you said you think it's some kind of Egyptian scale, you are correct. Harmonic minor, that's the parent scale of all this, is often associated with Egyptian sounding stuff. Phrygian dominant is a mode within harmonic minor. So yeah, it's very, let's say, yeah, it's a pretty popular mode to use for metal stuff. So I got, yeah, that stuff, where'd it go? Written out here as well. So basically all the C notes from before are now C sharp. Whoop, I don't have it up. There we go. So yeah, all those are now, all the C's are now C sharp. So again, just got some fairly convenient shapes that you can use to solo in. This one, yes, I do have in both octaves. Now for soloing, you might not want to be playing it down here. Because it could really clash with the low end or the low pitched chords. You probably want to be soloing up here instead. Long video. Yeah, these videos won't be as long moving forward because a lot of the stuff that needed to be covered is covered today. All right, so what I'm going to do is just fiddle around for a moment. So I'm going to just loop this part. Oh no! Sorry, I got some. Must have the counting turned on. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So yeah, now I myself never solo in these shapes in this key, so I am going to use this stuff to my advantage. And look at it. So when we start going into theory in depth, we'll be using the key of C, key of A minor, so you learn all the natural notes on the fretboard and whatnot. But anyway, yeah, you can just start off by just kind of going up and down one of the patterns and just kind of hear how it works with the chords and that thing. Next one there. It doesn't matter which one you use because it's all the same 7 notes, just laid out in different ways. One. don't have to stick all within those shapes. You're absolutely welcome to use all the fretboard. But I got those shapes there to make it kind of convenient in one spot so you can make it a little easier on yourself to make something up. Alright, now let's use the Phrygian dominant stuff over this. Alright, so hopefully that makes sense there. So I'm just going through one shape after the next, just to demonstrate like how they are definitely all usable over that. So what's the homework for this then? Improv another solo using those shapes. So when it's this section of your song, solo using the Phrygian shapes. And then when it is this section of the song, use the Phrygian dominant shapes. So you can just send over one session, you can send over a couple, you know, maybe do like three maximum sessions there to send in. Definitely spend a good amount of time throughout the week working on the stuff, but just when it's for you to submit your video next week, maybe like three takes all together would be fine. Now you can absolutely write a solo using that stuff. You can just improvise the entire time for the video. Either way is fine. But hopefully those shapes help give you some new ideas. And again, we will check out the other rhythm that you sent me, and we'll talk similar stuff with that. And then if you have any other rhythm stuff that you would want to check out for this kind of thing, let me know. So, but then so we'll definitely do next week your other rhythm, maybe one more, but then we're really going to start diving into the theory and how to figure out what key you're in and all that stuff. And so yeah, all right, long video. Next week will most likely be a lot shorter. Maybe not a ton. Anyway, we'll see. Just any questions, please let me know, and I will see you again in your new videos.